Hello there. Thanks for joining the Triad of Health video series. If you're seeing this on Facebook, please give us a love and share this with somebody that you know that you think would benefit from it. It's just a little sunny here today, so I'm just going to kind of, shade myself a little bit. So there's a lot of misunderstandings when it comes to healing and what the healing process is all about. And that's something I wanted to talk to y'all about today. There's this really amazing healer who comes from mainland China who has been working in San Francisco for quite a few years. I'm not going to say his exact name. His first name starts with Master, okay? And then he has the name S in his initials. But anyway, we kind of get the feeling from a lot of these healers that healing is some kind of mysterious, magical thing that takes place in an instant of time. All of a sudden, when you're, when you go and you get the healing therapy done. But that's not really the case with most deep and permanent healing. What actually does happen is there's work involved, and people go through their ups and downs. They go through the process of healing with an increase in symptoms. So that's what's called a homeopathic aggravation. If you're watching this, you may have also heard of the Hertzheimer reaction or the healing crisis. And these are real things. People experience more symptoms when they're going through healing rather than fewer symptoms. Now, it's true that right after a great healing therapeutic process takes place, such as those that happen in our office at Triad of Health Family Healing Center in San Rafael, people will have a great deal of relief, and they'll feel, they'll have their emotions settle down. They'll be able to think more clearly. I've had patients who are having trouble seeing have their vision dramatically improve very quickly right there in the office. We've measured changes in blood pressure, heart rate, range of motion of different limbs of the body, that being able to move the arm and a greater range of motion, no longer having a frozen shoulder, all this kind of stuff. That can happen quickly, but when it comes to real severe chronic illness like autoimmune disease, things like Hashimoto's, Graves' disease, heart disease, rheumatoid arthritis, Crohn's disease, celiac disease, endocarditis, cholecystitis, inflammation, cystitis, and these types of things, especially with, the deeper ones that involve the central nervous system, like multiple sclerosis or Crest syndrome, and many of these diseases. In order to get completely well, the person's going to go through a process of healing. So I guess our society's used to having instant results with everything that we do. We have instant oatmeal, we have an instant dinner, we have TV dinners from the 1950s and 1960s. We've got instant everything. But healing doesn't really work that way. We want instant gratification, right? We have a instant, somebody comes to help us clean our place. We want it instantly cleaned, within a day or a couple hours. And, most areas of life just don't work that way. Americans are real spoiled, and sometimes we have a lot of instant results with certain things. Like we have instant success with our finances, instant successes with sports, instant successes with our careers, certain careers if they're involved in like entertainment or that kind of thing. But it just seems that way, but it's not usually the case. I mean, people forget all those Olympic athletes, how many times they failed before they ended up even, getting involved in the Olympics and being able to accomplish all that they've accomplished. So, again, for example, with the deep healing that takes place in our office, even though we've had people who had Graves' disease completely get rid of their Graves' disease in as few as 8 or 9 visits, and we've had people with Hashimoto's get rid of their Hashimoto's sometimes in 3 or 4 visits. Usually, for those results to be long-lasting, the person has to make changes. They have to go through lifestyle changes. They experience more of the symptoms before they get a lot better. So, for example, just releasing something called heavy metals, which are things like mercury, cadmium, arsenic, lead, a lot of these chemicals that are found in industrial products like light bulbs, or now that you find a lot of mercury is found in fish. There's mercury. They lace the vaccinations, many of them, even the flu vaccine, they'll lace with mercury or something called thimerosal at such high levels that it's not approved of by the EPA. Okay, and petrochemicals, chemicals coming from the automotive industry, medications carry toxic residue. Every single one of the medications do. It's not like there's any exception. If it's a synthetic prescription medication, they all have side effects. Most definitely, penicillin derivatives would be included, for sure, absolutely. And antibiotics are some of the worst, just in case you're wondering. So all these medications, to be able to release the poisons and toxins that were introduced to the body through medications, through exogenous hormones, meaning if the person took a hormone that they thought was safe, they call it even if it's a bioidentical hormone, which is a natural hormone. Any of these types of chemicals that get in your body, the heavy metals, the hormones, the vaccinations, whatever the case may be, they leave a toxic residue in the body. And to release that toxic residue through a process of healing can sometimes be quite unpleasant. Don't forget, these healing therapies are so powerful that we're getting rid of the need for surgery in many, many instances, such as not needing to have a gallbladder removed, not needing to have a hip replacement, not needing to have open heart surgery, not needing to have stem cell therapy. To be able to get to that point, healing needs to take place, and the healing is not always pleasant. But in our office and through our system, we're able to coach people through that healing process with what kind of water to drink, how often to drink the water. Right, Amarcita? Right. My wife, Yvette, is here. Yvette Amarcita Zinski. So we can help them with what kind of water to drink, how much water to drink, how often to drink the water, what kind of protein to eat, how often to eat that protein, and in what amounts. What's the highest rated protein for that person? What's the lowest rated? For instance, to experience deep healing and to not have and to minimize symptoms, red meat would not be ideal. Red meat tends to be a very concentrated type of protein, but it also is a little bit hard to process for people who are releasing tons and tons of poisons and toxins every day. That's just a quick example. Okay, so this is a whole science. It's been around for literally hundreds of years, but most people, especially in the United States, are completely unaware that this healing science takes place. Okay, so it has different names. Some people call it vitalism. Some people call it homeopathy. Some people call it chiropractic. Some people call it naturopathy. Some people call it all of those things. Some people call it, like I was saying, herbalism. But it's a way of thinking that honors the body without having to introduce lots of new poisons and toxins. Now, if a person needs a little bit of something that's toxic for a short period of time, which they often do, for instance, if somebody's taking thyroid medication, they shouldn't just get off their medication. That's not safe. If somebody's taking blood pressure medication, they just shouldn't stop it. That could be dangerous. So all these things are done safely, and but knowing that there's going to be a rocky road ahead, that there's going to be some hills and some valleys helps, because we're not expecting instant oatmeal here, right? We're not expecting instant results. We're expecting a process of healing to take place that requires quite a bit of commitment on the side of the healee, the person being healed, the person experiencing the healing, the patient. Okay, all right. Thanks for joining in. I hope you found this helpful. Again, share it with somebody you think would benefit. My name's Dr. Ilya Skolnikov. I'm the clinic director at Triad Family Healing Center. And peace. Thank you for watching. Over and out. Goodbye.